Yeah, no matter what, I ain't never gave up. Came close, devil tried, do the most. Can't nobody block me from my destiny. They try to block me, dog. Gotta keep the faith, I know he testing me. Made it through the fire, now I'm living proof. Said I made it through the fire, now I'm living proof. Haters taking shots, but I'm bulletproof. Whoa.
What is up, everybody? It is I, your favorite combat sports enthusiast and self-proclaimed nerd, which really should be self-professed nerd because I've never denied it. It is I, Matt Burton, the Saiyan soldier, and I'm back again with another episode with a great person on. He's a good dude. Man, he's done a lot. He's a fellow CP athlete. He is a 3-time state cycling champion, former football running back from 2006 to 2008, center and a baseball player, catcher at that. My friend, Mr. David Figueroa. He is also the host of David's Cerebral Palsy and Fitness podcast, which is a great podcast that I've been on. We are definitely going to do a part 2 down the road. I will leave a link to his channel in the description. But David, man, it's awesome to have you on.
Hey man, it's always a pleasure to chat with you and catch up and everything. So I'm looking forward to this episode today with you.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Yeah, it's been a minute. So David, like I said, is a fellow CP athlete. So if you've listened to this podcast enough by now, you know what CP is. What really impresses me about you is how you got to play football. Like, I've told people all the time, like, that would have been the sport that I would have played if it hadn't been for wrestling and MMA and jiu-jitsu. Let's talk about how your diagnosis and how you came up, and then how you eventually got to football and then into cycling and the other sports you've done.
Well, I was actually born a spastic quadriplegic. Or with spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy, which those of you that don't know, that aren't very versed at it, it's a disability that's caused by, it's a neurological disorder actually, that's caused by lack of oxygen to the brain. So I was born 4 months early, couldn't really read, write, or walk, struggled with that for the first few years, went through countless surgeries, and found sports as a way to just stay in shape at first and to kind of keep myself active.
Yep, I understand that completely. The first couple years, I get like that walking process, I know is difficult. I went through the same thing. And it's funny how you get told no at first. I don't know if that happened to you, whether you were told you'd never walk.
Plenty of times.
And finding sports, it's so funny how people are always like, oh, you can't do that. You won't be able to do that. That's the one thing that can help us. It's so important for us to be active, help maintain our CP. So when you find sports to stay in shape, you get passionate about it, and then it leads to other things like us being able to be active in full-on sports.
And you also need to realize that if it wasn't for sports, especially with our kinds of bodies and composition, we'd age so rapidly, a lot faster than able-bodied people.
Yep. It's been catching up to me lately. Like, I'm 35, and I swear I feel like my body feels like it's like 62. It's rough, man. But
yeah, that's the place where you get up and you're hurting all over, and you're like, oh man, I can't do this today.
Yep, I'm actually supposed to be doing something today, and I'm like, I can't. My body hurts. Like, everything hurts right now. But I mean, you got, as a CP athlete or as a CP person, you got to know you're gonna have those days.
I've been through numerous injuries. I don't know how. There are too many to count.
Me too.
Being an athlete, too many to count. Too many of them.
I'm coming off a rib injury that took me almost 2 months to heal, and I just got back into training and stuff. The time off and then getting back into it is wild. How much forget how sore you are after having to restart again.
Yeah, the funny thing is, my last year of football, I suffered a really horrendous hernia, and I had to have a surgery, and it took me out for 2 months. And mind you, I was on track to get into the best shape I've ever been as a football player. And then the injury happened, and I'm like, oh, screw it. And I'm like, oh, the season came, finished up the season, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and retire.
That's something I really want to talk to you about. Talk to us about how you ended up getting into football, being able to play at a high level like you did.
Well, they started the league back in 06, and then I've always been a fan of football, so I really wanted to try it. And it was mostly flag, so you don't really get hit. I mean, although there are times where, my competitiveness got in the way, and I'd be like, screw this, and I just wanted to get physical. So I would get physical, and I was more of a trash talker, but I backed it up in the field.
I completely understand that. You got to play flag, so you you said you played running back and center. Which was your favorite position? Because I feel like me, I like to get gritty, so I feel like center would be a good position for me because I feel like I'd be pushing people out of the way and making room for people to get through. The running back and the quarterback to get through if the quarterback had to.
I honestly like running back. You get the ball in your hands, not only that, but I wasn't afraid to take a hit or give a hit either. So
Yeah, I like that's the physicality of running back that I like. I've always admired running backs on the field, so like that's really cool, dude.
yeah, and I pulled. There was one game I think that same year where I pulled a Michael Jordan, being that I was really sick, like deathly sick, and they told me to go home, and they wanted. I'm like, no, if I leave, they're gonna forfeit this game, and I can't afford that. So they had me with towels, pouring water on me the entire game, and I would still come in and play.
Nice. You had your own flu game and pulled it off. Huh? Did y'all win that game?
Yeah, and then I went home and just passed out and slept the rest of the day.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you not one bit. That's awesome. You also tried Muay Thai, huh? And some boxing to stay in shape.
I tried it. And I actually enjoyed it a lot when I had a bag. When I used to live at my parents' house, they had a garage set up with everything there.
Hmm.
Punching bag and everything. And I ended up then moving, and so now I'm trying to set up an area where I can start, boxing again and doing what I used to do. I used to like doing. The last punching bag I had, I punched it so hard that I busted out the hinges and I broke it.
I've had that happen to me before too, so yeah, I understand. So you dabbled in the combat sports a little bit. You ever thought about jujitsu?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it. My body's not as flexible as I wanted to be, but it'd be cool to try it out.
Trust me, mine isn't either, but I can still do it, and I make the best of it. So we have to figure that out because I would love to get together and work with you on some things.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I feel like everybody on the planet should do jujitsu. It's so much. It like helped me so much with the muscle movement and the flexibility. Even though I'm nowhere near as flexible as I should be. What was baseball like for you, man? Because that
Oh,
is something
baseball.
I never
That,
thought
that is
about.
that is the biggest passion of mine, and I started all the way back in Puerto Rico back in 1998. They started the first league in my hometown like ever, so I was practically the poster child of that league. I was in newspapers, interviewed by big media outlets. I got photo shoots done with Miss Teen Puerto Rico at the time back in '98. Then I played there for about 2 years. I ended up moving to Florida for better education purposes and a better life, and then I played in Apopka and Oviedo from 2000 to 2008, and then ended up retiring after that. But I was very decorated. I was very experienced. Played with a multitude of teams. Played catcher mostly. I wasn't a home run hitter by any means, but field wise, I was very good. I had speed. I had cardio.
Nice, nice. So, talk about the struggles of being able to train through all these sports. Because I know, like we talked about the physicality of football through multiple sports for you. What was the struggles like coming through training,
That's a good
playing?
question. At the time, I was actually in high school, and I did foot. No, no, that wasn't. Yeah, I did football and I did cycling at the same time while in school
Hmm.
and having a 4.0 GPA. So it was a struggle because you had to balance out the days. What times for practice? Practice were mostly in the afternoon. I didn't get home till the evening to do schoolwork and get ready for the next day. So it was pretty interesting trying to balance everything out. Just the one thing I've learned is you had to stay positive throughout.
Yep. And that's one of the biggest things I love about you, man, is like you find a way to make everything positive through it all. That's why like you as a motivational speaker, the fact that you even do that is motivating to me because like that's something that terrifies me. I admire you for pushing through all of that because I know
Thanks.
this is something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but the mental struggles for people with disabilities, especially CP,
Yes,
is it weighs heavy. And I feel like I need to do an episode on that. And I
I
will
agree.
eventually because sometimes it feels heavier than most. But the thing is, like you said, staying positive and pushing through is the most important thing there. So we talked about our nerdism a little bit. Let's talk about one of my favorite fandoms. This is what I really wanted to get into with you, professional wrestling. Dude, tell me how you got involved, like what brought you into professional wrestling and where you're at with it now. Like how not just as a fan, but like as somebody who's dabbled in the business and wanting to get into it.
I mean, well, Like you said earlier, I've always been a fan since I was a kid. Didn't really think about getting into the business until way later on. Until I met my friend Duke from Duke Loves Wrestling. I had a podcast with him, and he liked my episode. And eventually, went to connected with Nick, who's the founder of River City Wrestling Con, and he invited me as a media interviewer. And so since then, I've been involved doing media interviews, attending conventions.
So you started interviewing wrestlers? Is that how you started to get involved?
Yeah, I started through, well, I was interviewed on a wrestling podcast, and from there, then I began the process of interviewing. Once I got invited as to do media for River City Wrestling Con 2 years ago.
Nice, nice. That's kind of how I got involved too, is because I knew somebody that was restarting a wrestling promotion, and he's a friend of mine that I knew from the indie scene back in the day. And I just reached out to him and was like, hey, I had done commentary for promotion in Atlanta at one point, and I really enjoyed it. So I reached out to my friend and was like, hey, do you need commentary? I know some guys. He was like, I actually do. So me and one of my friends make up the commentary team now for Passion of Wrestling, based out of Swainsboro, Georgia. Shout out to them. I love those guys there. Like, and I've been doing it ever since January this year.
Awesome, man. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah,
It,
man, I
it's
love it.
always good when you get to kind of get good people, especially in the wrestling sphere.
Right, right. So with you interviewing now, you want to go? Do you want to take that even further? Because I feel like you would. I feel like everybody in the wrestling industry
Yeah,
wants to.
eventually, I've been working on some ideas, with some close friends of mine here in Florida, and eventually, I want to do some backstage commentary, eventually backstage interviewing, and or possibly, do a segment in the ring where I could, work a shoot or something, or get involved in a match. Not so necessarily has to be physical, but
Right.
maybe just get involved in some form of capacity, in the ring.
Yeah, I 100% understand that.
Not to mention, I kind of respect the wrestling business in a sense of, everybody works together to make something happen. I love making magic happen. I'm not going to bring up the situation that happened weeks ago, that happened with Psychos 2, because that was terrible.
Yeah, it
All
really
I,
was.
all I can say is that's what happens when you're not willing to work with someone properly.
Right,
It becomes a total mess. I get it. The beer can in this situation was kind of out of line, but you as a guest, you shouldn't have gone too far with all those punches. That was unnecessary. They asked you to do one thing. They should have clarified with you what certain terms are, which is what they failed to do.
right.
They
I
should have
want to.
clarified what a receipt was. The
Right,
dude had no idea what a receipt was. He assumed, oh, I'm just gonna hit the guy, and then apparently he lost track of thought or train of thought, or his mind went out the window. So he just kept punching until the guy was unconscious. And so it's become a whole big deal now. Now it makes you question: would they ever let somebody from the audience back into a spot like that where they can get involved in a match?
right, exactly. Because, like you said, he had no idea, but also, like you said, they failed him to explain to him what to do. Like, he doesn't understand the business where me and you do. I kind of got myself into a situation like that, but I understand the business. So I went back to the wrestler and I was like, look, my bad. I completely understand what we need to do from here. He's like, cool. So we worked it out. What Raja should have done was like, all right, what exactly do I need to do? Because I don't understand this. I don't come from this world. Because originally I'm just a fan. I come from the same world Raja does from MMA, but I understand what the business is, so I know like where my role is now. They
Mhm.
should have told him, look, this is what we can do. This is how it should go.
But
Don't take it into a situation where it's more than that. And I understand he's a hothead, all that, because a lot of people are, myself included, at certain times. But if you understand what the business is, you know where your boundaries are. Nobody told him where his boundaries were.
I mean, as with any job, whether you're a hothead or not, you should know that it's a job's still a job. If they ask you to do something a certain way, you do it that way. You don't veer off of the course.
Exactly. And like you said, they failed him by not telling him where the line is.
No, and another thing is, I'm not one to start stuff or whatever. AJ Mana should have done better in terms of like, don't hype the man up. Just be like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
give the man a receipt, but I'm gonna explain to you what a
right.
receipt is exactly.
And he was the
No.
one that was
But
like,
if you do struggle, I'll be glad to assist you. If there needs to be a way where I can intervene and I'll help in a way where both you and the wrestler is safe, I'll do so.
right,
But
yeah,
instead, he's like, if I see you struggling and you're about to get, I don't know if you can cuss discuss on this podcast.
Keep it to a minimum, but yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes to where, I'm just gonna go out there and beat the shit out of you, then that doesn't make any sense, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
no, not at all. Like that's the thing. Like performance has a line, and you definitely crossed it.
yeah, that and social media, you don't wanna. He got kind of hyped up by his fans on his chat on the chats.
Yeah. That's a whole different story for a different day on that side of it. But on the wrestling side of it, yeah, they communication
Is
was
key.
not. Yeah, exactly. Communication was not handled well in that situation, which is what it all boils down to. Matter of fact, I think that's a good note where we can kind of wrap this up, brother. So, at the end of every episode, I like to ask my guests 3 questions kind of related to the topic that we talked about that I call the SS3 because Saiyan Soldier, Super Saiyan 3. David, my SS3 for you, wrestling nerds that we are. What 3 pro wrestling events would you like to attend? What would be dream attendances for you? Or you can take it one step further and say, would you like to interview at if you ever got the opportunity? Let's say outside of WrestleMania, because I think that's the obvious one
Yeah,
for
I was gonna mention some spots outside of
everybody.
WrestleMania.
Everybody wants to
Um,
be at a WrestleMania in some capacity if you're a wrestling aficionado.
I was gonna say my top one would be New Japan. I would love to go to Japan.
Ooh,
The
man.
way I've seen the shows and how respectful the crowd is and how respectful the people are and how humble the just the community is of
Yep.
Japan City. My next one would be, and I have nothing against the I have nothing against the wrestlers at AEW or anything like that. All out or all in. Do one of those. And does it have to be strictly wrestling, or can it be like can we go to like MMA or and stuff
Yeah,
like
go to MMA. That's my base. So please, by all means,
UFC Expo or like a UFC pay-per-view event, do
dude,
commentary.
that would be awesome. So since we're going that route, I will say my top 3 outside of WrestleMania would be New Japan. I take that back. I'm gonna take it a different way. I'm gonna say TNA, Bound for Glory. If I ever got to do something with them, commentary wise or interview, like anything, I would like to do something with TNA. Just because I feel like what they're doing now, even with their partnership with WWE, outside of that, what they're doing now is a lot different. It seems like it would be more welcoming and more inclusive to a plethora of options. So I'm gonna say a TNA show. I'm gonna say New Japan, just because I've always wanted to go to Japan anyway. But like you said, the respect that they show the wrestlers and the respect of the community. I won't say UFC Expo, but I'm gonna say UFC BJJ event because
Yeah.
that's my bread and butter is to be an adaptive representation, to be there, to be able to do anything in that capacity, to let the UFC know that, hey man, we can do this too. To do that in any capacity would be dope.
Yeah, I mean, look at Raul. I think it's Raul Rosas. He has a certain condition. I don't know if you've ever seen him. Have you ever seen him fight before? He has like
Yeah,
this condition
yeah.
where his face is like really formed in a certain way. I'm not sure
Hmm.
what condition that is, but I know he does have a certain condition.
Right. But he's a
But he's
badass.
a really good fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chee wee wee. That
Yeah.
dude, he's a he's badass. Like, so yeah, that would be my 3 for the SS3.
All
Well,
good.
David, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. I appreciate you coming on. I definitely want to do your show down the road eventually again.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for your time again, man.
Yeah, man, no
Appreciate it.
problem. No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for another episode of the Saiyan Soldier Pod. Peace out. I will leave the link in the description for David's podcast and all his stuff going on. We will see you guys later.